I was just thinking that the other day if we were going to go mini golfing.
Oh, I mean, it's tradition.
Tradition.
Who day and night must putt-putt every morning. Sorry.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Book Retorts. I'm Danielle.
I'm Sam.
And this is the podcast where one of us explains a weird piece of media to the other who has no experience with it.
Except
you do, because this is part two.
Part two! The conclusion!
It is not the conclusion, but it is part two.
Oh, no.
Of the Thai drama Ready, Set, Love.
I was so excited to hear how it ended, but I guess we'll have to wait a whole nother episode? Oh.
Sorry. It's 6 episodes of TV, and so my notes just are 2 episodes each. It's just that I can't do all 6.
It's a very dense show from what I recall.
Yes. And speaking of that, Sam, can you explain the plot of Ready, Set, Love to our lovely listeners in case they skipped that entirely for some reason?
If they did, go back because it is a wild ride. But what I recall is that mystery disease caused men to die more than women first, and then caused
so far,
women not to give birth to men very much. So basically, the population has been skewed. Dramatically more women than men in this utopia? Dystopia? To be determined.
We can take a guess.
So, in the city, and it is known as the city in Thailand, we presume. Mm-hmm. Day? Is she Day or she Sun? I forget which one is which.
Day is the girl, Sun is the guy.
Right. So there's a guy named Sun. When he was a kid, there was a whole opening scene where young Sun ran into young Day. I'm sure we'll get into it in more detail as we're looking for a teaser for the series. But the point is, the society that Day and Sun live in has decided the best way to determine how to propagate the species is through a reality dating competition where a veritable cavalcade of women will compete for the affections of 5 men, and they will pair off and make babies, and we'll just hope that some of them are more men. Otherwise, I guess the species isn't really in danger since they have artificial insemination and stuff. So really, the men seem kind of superfluous at this point, I'll be honest.
And you forgot the important detail that the men all live together. There's 300 something of them. And the farm, correct. And so they draw from that every 4 years to do their competition. The young adult males in their 20s.
Which is a terrible system for propagating the species, but that's something we discussed at length in the previous episode, so go check that out.
Yeah, crazy idea.
Yeah, absolutely insane, and not sure why it's a reality show, but again, roll with it. So Day works as a clerk in a convenience store, I believe.
She has multiple jobs.
Sure.
She's one of those
part-time
workers.
But the one we see her in is the one in the convenience store, and her utterly precocious and deathly ill cancerous sister is the one who signed her up for the dating show competition. This is the first year they're having a lottery where anyone could win. Previously, only elite women were somehow chosen to participate in the competition, I guess.
That is correct.
Yeah, but I don't know how they chose the elite women. We'll
get into that, actually, just a tiny bit.
Oh, okay, great. I'm excited to have that answered. All my questions will be answered in this episode.
Maybe.
Anyway, Day, of course, gets picked. She enters the reality show competition. I'm going to gloss over a lot of this. But basically, she enters the first game. The whole theme of this year is board games, which is not apparent to us in any way. But I'm assuming we'll get into the board games now that we're further into the show.
Kind of, yeah. There's the ones that they chose for these 2 episodes. I was questionable.
What is it going to be like? We still wanted Hungry Hippos to be one, but they did not pick Hungry Hippos.
Sadly.
So the first competition was Run to Spotlights with trivia about the 5 men, and Day immediately portrayed the alliance she made with the 4 other lottery girls, and they got eliminated. So she's on her own amongst the pit of vipers of the elite girls. Anyway, I'm not going through all the games, but Day sort of endears herself after first embarrassing herself before Sun. It's your standard romantic comedy shenanigan type thing so far.
Mm-hmm. And do you remember why Sun and Day met when they were young?
Wasn't he like escaping from the farm or something?
Absolutely, with his father, you might recall.
No, we didn't get that far.
Yes, we did.
We ended exactly when he like picked up the necklace or something. And it was like, oh.
No, we didn't.
Okay. Well, whatever.
We got to the point where he is escaping with his father into the forest. And then his father is like, keep running, because he gets tranked.
Yeah, right. I forgot about the trank guns. How can I forget about the trank guns?
No, I said the end of the episode was the necklace, but that was a dumb place to end. So I went with the next part of the next episode.
Right. Okay. I basically shut off after that point, I'll be honest. Anyway, there's also a big B plot about a conspiracy where one of Day's friends is working as production somehow on the production of the show and is investigating the conspiracy where the show is rigged and like, who cares? Of course it's rigged. They only let the elites participate anyway. Like, this is not a story.
Do you remember her motivating factor for being there? That's Valentine, by the way.
Valentine's motivating factor?
Yeah, she's the girl that's there.
Is she like
to be
the sister or something of one of the guys or whatever, something like that?
Yeah, her brother was taken away from her mom.
Right, something like so
when he was little.
Right, which seems like that seems like less to do with the this rigged reality show is rigged than hey, this whole government seems kind of shady.
I think it was just her way into the farm and like all of that. That was the only way she was going to be able to meet any of the guys.
There's also a romantic rivalry between Sun and, is it 01, the Borg Queen, right? Or no, sorry, Day and 01, the Borg Queen.
Yeah, it's like there's also a romantic rivalry between Almond and Sun.
Right, but I'm talking about Day and the Borg Queen, like, your standard. Chanel. Not like Borg Queen better.
She's got a personality.
Sure. I don't care. I'm sure so that don't mean that but we don't have only so much time here. We can't go to everyone's personality.
Oh yeah, I'm totally skipping several of her scenes. Let's just assume she has a character arc.
Right. I believe it. And so she's like the elite daughter of like the president, the chairwoman, some big muckety muck, and she's supposed to end up with Sun. And we will continue to mess up Sun and Day because they're basically the same name. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, sorry. All right. Well, that was very thorough. Good job.
It stuck with me, Danielle. It was a big miss. I'm like, I want to see what happens next.
Well, you're lucky. I will fill you in on what happens next.
Yes.
It's amazing how this podcast works.
It's just a mystery to me every time.
All right. So according to the captions, uneasy music is playing. And you see the hosts. There are 3 hosts already set love. I love music cues. That's my favorite part of captions.
You would write those, I bet, if you
They're
just
so
the
good.
music cues.
I would highly recommend if anybody loves music cues is to watch Community with captions. There are some very funny music cues.
Yeah, they put the jokes in there.
Anyway, so you see one of the hosts, the male host. There's a male and 2 female hosts of Ready, Set, Love. The male host is wandering down a hallway, intercut with one of the male contestants telling Valentine in like a TV show interview that there's a section of the village where even the gentlemen can't get to. It's where they keep them, quote unquote, whatever that is. I don't know.
Sharks. Mutant sharks, like the ones from
sharks.
Bait or something.
So you see Valentine following the host down the hallway, spying on him.
Sneaky.
Cut to Sun waking up from a nightmare of his dad. We see him flash back to his dad 12 billion times during the show.
You might say, this is the rising sun. Ayo!
And you see it kind of interspersed between Sun and Day getting ready for their day at the competition. Hilarious.
Sorry. Continue. I'll stop laughing about the names, I promise.
They're both debating on whether to wear their matching necklaces. I don't know why they're debating, and they both wear them regularly, but they both put them on. Then Jenny, the producer, I don't know if you recall her. She's the one who came up with the idea for the lotto, and she seems to be, she's pregnant, and she seems to be working for the government.
And Valentine stole her phone at one point.
Yes. Yeah, correct. You see Jenny getting an early ultrasound from her partner, who I have to assume is the doctor, or medical professional of some kind, ultrasound tech, don't know, but I'm pretty sure she says she's a doctor later on, which seems like a weird choice to have your partner be your OBGYN, but what do I know? I
was going to say, I don't know if that would be awesome to have like instant access to your OBGYN if you needed them, or like the worst living situation imaginable.
I'm not even entirely sure that's legal, but yeah, Thailand, I don't know, maybe.
Thailand in the dystopian future? Yeah. Let's not debate the legality of fictional future dystopia Thailand.
So they look excitedly at the ultrasound image until her partner falls silent, and Jenny asks, "What's wrong?" And the scene cuts to breakfast at the competition.
It's a boy!
Yeah, obviously, Sam.
I know. So why is this show trying to hide it from us? What, they were idiots?
I mean, kind of. It's a TV show.
Okay, fair.
So Almond sees Sun across the breakfast area and heads over to him, awkwardly asking him, "Hey, you interested in Day? Because you kind of seem like I noticed her at the audition. I'm kind of into her, but you kind of seem like you were into her until you went on that date with her last night and you gave her a 4 out of 10. So maybe you aren't interested in her." So I just wanted to check in. I'm
sorry, I was barely listening. I was trying to think of an almond milk joke, but it didn't come to me.
Okay, whatever. The point is, he's asking Sun if he's interested in Day. And Sun kind of plays it off a little bit, but ultimately says, "No, I'm not interested in her." And Almond looks pleased. He's like, "Yay, I have a chance."
I mean, don't these guys have a chance with anyone they want, basically, because everyone is clamoring to get with them? I feel like Day is motivated by listeners. Day is motivated by her sister. She wants the best medical care for her ailing sisters. That's what's motivating her to stay in this competition, because otherwise she wouldn't be in it. And so I feel like, she'd probably go with any guy that offered her marriage. No, but I'm saying in general, the fact that they're having a reality show where dozens of women compete for these men, it makes me feel like the men could have their pick of the litter pretty much. Yeah, but it is whoever wins the competition. It's not like they get to fully choose. Then what does Altman care? He doesn't get to choose at all, man, because if she doesn't win the competition... I think he's motivated to help her win. Okay, sure. This reality show makes less and less sense the more I learn about it. Well, and remember, they go on dates and the guys get to give them points and stuff too. Yeah, if he can convince her to go on dates, then maybe he can give her high points and maybe she'll win. You don't know. Meanwhile, out on the patio, Paper is making coffee and humming the song he heard on that underground radio. You may recall that Bovey suggested he listen to. Slipped Bovey, him a piece of paper with a frequency for the underground radio, Exactly that. And Bovey pops up next to him and is like, "Aha, I knew you'd like Chun." Chun is the name of the singer. Okay. Which she explains to Paper when he's like, "Who's Chun?" Or Chun. And Bovey draws him closer and whispers that it's the singer of the song. He's a man who's not on the farm. And Paper's like, "Excuse me?" That's not a thing that exists. So some mythical free man is singing songs on the Underground Railroad. Or radio. Sorry. But there are some clear parallels here. Called Beyond the Wall, yes. It's like Ben said, Paper's absolutely astounded by this news, but then Bovey laughs. It's like, "Just kidding. It's probably just a woman who uses technology to sound like a man." And obviously all the rumors about men living off the farm are just internet nonsense. But Paper looks very contemplative as he thinks about the radio show. Yeah, okay. I mean, subtle as always. Cool. And if you wanted something not subtle, this is not your Emma. Look, I'm not saying I don't want to. I just want to get back to the games. Let's get to the games. We have to get through all this first so you understand what's happening. It's part of the plot, Sam. If I have to listen to hours of Hyperion, you can listen to a few people talk about a radio show. I mean, I can't really argue with that. I mean, you're going to be able to throw that into my face for years. So in a nearby hallway, Chanel is getting chewed out by her mom on the phone about not being allowed to lose another competition because she lost the food competition. Don't ask me who won because I'm not 100% sure, but apparently it wasn't Chanel. Unacceptable. Yeah, because she's supposed to if she's not winning the competitions, nobody's going to believe that she wins the competition at the end. That's a good point. Very good point. That'll be sketchy. Oh, she came in last, but she won. I mean, why isn't this more like a dating show then? Where I don't understand why they don't just make the audience votes go towards Chanel. That's the easiest part to manipulate. You can't
do like it.
There's no like verification.
Yeah. Like she can't be good at all the competitions, or like she may lose a competition. You can't like control that aspect of it, but you can control all the points.
I just don't know why it's a competition to begin with. If like the competition doesn't test the woman in any way that makes sense for like who you'd want to reproduce.
No, it's just a fun TV show.
Why isn't it just like a dating show, like The Bachelor or whatever, where they just go on dates and the men pick whoever they like the best?
I can't tell you, Sam. It's more fun to watch them do stupid games. Don't know.
I can't argue with that. If there's like a wipeout course in a dating show, I'd watch that probably.
So she wipes away her tears and rejoins the people for breakfast. Poor Chanel.
So
her life is so hard.
Yeah, living in the compound, the castle, whatever it's called.
Max tries to chat with her. You might remember Max is the one who likes to take his shirt off all of the time, and he's fell in immediate love with her.
Sure.
And she rebuffs him, telling her from here on out, she will only choose Sun, and their date was just for views. They dated in the previous episode.
Okay,
so Bovie goes to try to make amends with Chanel for her mistake in the previous game, because apparently, I, again, don't recall this because I fast-forwarded through the scene for my notes, but apparently Bovie's the one that lost the competition for the food challenge.
Apparently this was a very important scene you skipped, Danielle.
Why? All of this tells me what happened. Why did I have to watch? It's literally probably 20 minutes of the episode is the food challenge. I did not need to watch it in real time.
Sure, I clearly see what your dedication was.
I watched it the first time.
Just shirking your duties.
It literally is just the way they filmed that particular scene more than any of the other ones is like watching an actual reality TV show. It's just 20 minutes of them running up and down fields and like jumping in ball pits with their costumes on. Like it's nonsense. I don't know why I had to watch the whole actual thing.
We suffer for our art, Danielle. That's what we do.
Yeah. That's the thing. So, like I said, Bovie's trying to make up with Chanel, and Chanel's not having it. She definitely mean girls her and, like, leaves her at the table alone and makes all the friends go with her. So now Bovie's sitting alone at the table.
Oh, poor Bovie.
I know. And Max looks over and is kind of, like, concerned. Like, why do I like a girl who's such a jerk face?
Question for the ages.
It is. Cut to the next challenge, Sam.
Yes,
Yay!
finally!
Yeah.
Let me try to guess the board game.
Okay. You're not going to because it's generic.
Yeah, Trouble.
No. I mean...
Oh, got pretty close there, though, huh?
It's kind of a generic board game, so, like, sure. It could be
so
Trouble.
Like Parcheesi or Ludo.
It could be Sorry. It could be Life. It's kind of reminded me a little bit of Life.
I just like Trouble because it has, like, the little poppy thing with the dice in it.
Yeah, I used to play that. It was, like, one of, like, 2 or 3 board games that my grandparents had, so I used to play Trouble.
It was the best part of that board game was popping the thing. Sorry kind of sucked, but...
No, Sorry was fun because I didn't love Sorry, but Sorry was fun because you got to, like, whack the other person's player piece like across the room.
Oh, I can see how you guys played.
We were very vicious.
That explains a lot about your childhood, Danielle.
Well, you know,
and your thirst for competition these days.
I am competitive.
You did great in the show.
I'm sure, to our listeners.
You could win Son's heart.
I'm sure I could if I wanted somebody who was afraid of fireworks.
Like a puppy, Danielle, like a puppy.
I like Max better.
Okay, well, don't stop you from getting him either.
Kind of like Almond. Almond's not terrible.
I do like his milk. Found it. Found the joke.
Hey. It was worse than expected.
Yeah, let's move past it real quick.
So they're on the next challenge. They're going on a road trip treasure hunt.
No, what?
Yeah, they don't say what the game is based on exactly, but they do say it's a dice game, and they show you like a map of the board. Essentially, like they move from activity to activity. Each one represents a space on the board, and they have to they roll the dice to go the X amount of spaces to the next activity.
The board game I really want them to do the most is probably Don't Wake Daddy.
Yeah, they're not. I think you said that last time, and they're still not doing it.
It's still true, though. Can you imagine like trying to sneak around some sleeping person in a giant bed? Or Mousetrap with the Rube Goldberg machine. Sorry.
Mousetrap would be fun. So they all roll the die and get to move a set number of paces to each challenge until they get to the finish line. The team that finishes last gets sent home.
Makes sense. Love it.
They have like digital watches that
How are the teams chosen?
They have digital watches that show them.
Okay.
It like spins, like all the colors spin, and then they're assigned a specific color. They make it seem like it's random, but it's a digital watch. I'm sure they could set it up with anything they wanted.
Yeah, it's 100% rigged.
And so, of course, Day gets put on Sun's team with Chanel and Bovi. Totally random, I'm sure.
Because I'm going to say, like, the whole point of Survivor or other similar reality shows where you have teams is that you, like, get an affinity for a team or you start rooting for a team. But if the teams are, like, random every time, then how do you get that?
You're not rooting for the team, you're rooting for individual players.
Yeah, but those players can be like, oh, they got a bad team, they're out. Like, that sucks.
I mean, lots of shows have teams that change for each episode.
Sure, I guess. Anyway, I just think that makes more sense to me to have, like, consistent teams, but what do I know?
They don't have a ton of team. I guess they've had a couple, but a couple are just solo player ones.
Sure.
Anyway, Chanel gives them a warning that they better pull their own weight or she'll destroy them. I don't know. She feels like she has to win, obviously, with her mother ringing in her ears. So she calls shotgun and becomes the navigator because the phone with the navigation map, which is basically like a Google map sort of situation, is like really far over, so the driver can't see it. So the person in the passenger seat has to navigate. It's obviously part of the game.
Okay, like that. That's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. But it doesn't like vocally tell you what you're supposed to do. It just shows you the map. And so Chanel calls shotgun. So she's in that seat, but apparently she doesn't understand how maps work because she just like keeps telling them to turn at random intervals. She doesn't seem to understand like anything about maps. I've never seen anybody so bad at a map in my whole life. It's a moving map. It tells you when to turn left or right.
Right. She's like trying to follow the GPS. She's just like turning right and left at random, not like when she reaches the right or left turn.
Yeah, she just like ran, or she'll shout it out like last second, or she'll like tell them to turn left when there's nothing on the screen to turn left. Like she just doesn't seem to understand any sense of direction whatsoever. It's really, really impressive.
Aren't they supposed to get like an amazing education in the if she's living in the compound or whatever?
You would think so. And she doesn't seem stupid outside of the scene, but apparently maps are her downfall.
Her Achilles heel.
And so they get into a big argument and she gets ejected from the front seat and Day takes over the role.
Ooh.
So Day seems to understand maps better, but is an extremely aggressive backseat driver, and pretty immediately he ends up throwing her out because he's stressing her out. He just keeps like yelling about when to make turns and like people in front of them and all of that.
Wait, so who got ejected from the front seat? Chanel, right?
Chanel, and then Day took over, and then Day is, like I said, an aggressive backseat driver.
I thought he was in the front seat, though.
I just said backseat driver because that's the phrase, Sam.
But so then who gets thrown out of the front seat? Does Day get thrown out?
So Chanel gets thrown out first.
Then Day gets taken over.
And then Day takes over and gets thrown out as well.
Oh, so I thought you said someone else got thrown out besides Day.
No, the two of them are now in the backseat, and Bovi takes over directions.
Got it. I think maybe there was another Sunday mix-up. I don't, or in my brain at least, maybe.
And Bovi takes over directions. She is apparently the only sane person in this car because she understands how maps work. And she's very calm, like, take a left in 1/3 of a mile, you know? Like,
how is it that difficult for these people?
I don't know, because it's a comedy, Sam, that's why.
Okay, sure.
So they finally arrive at their first destination. They were ahead, now they're, like, practically behind, and they run in at the same time as Max's group. They both rolled 5s, I think, so they got to move ahead pretty quickly. So they are confronted with a giant puzzle they have to figure out to get the 4 digits to unlock the box that's in front of them.
Okay.
So they have like a puzzle off, and both arrive at the answer simultaneously and run off to the next round. And to give you an idea of what these puzzles are like, I guess, in case you want to know.
Yes,
they're basically
this is all I want to know.
They're basically like pictographs, and they have to like figure out the code from the pictographs. No, I'm sorry, I'm confusing it with the other one. So they're like a phrase, a set
like
phrase.
Like a rebus.
No, there's a set phrase on this like card, and they have to figure out what the phrase means to be able to get the code out of it. So, for example, the one that Day's team has to figure out, it says vertical moon in Thai on the card, and the code is 3002 because in English it looks like moon if it's vertical. 3002. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's very counterintuitive, I would say.
Sure. But that's the clue. That's the kind of clue that they had to figure out for the box. The other one didn't make much sense to me because it was in Thai and it was like, it had no English equivalent and it wasn't explained. So I don't know what the other one was, but that's the one that they got through on.
Thai puns. Got it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, back with the hosts, Valentine interrupts the group and asks the guy, his name's Pop, I think, or Pub, P-O-B, if she can get his photo for her mom because she's a big fan of his. And won over by the compliments. He poses for her and she takes like multiple pictures of him. And then she ends up you see her zoom in on thumbs up pose so she can get a picture of his thumb.
Oh, she's trying to steal his thumbprint.
Yeah, I don't know if that would work in a photo, but sure, that's what she's trying to do.
I mean, if it had like depth mapping, maybe, but
it's just a cell phone.
Who knows? It depends on how terrible the thumbprint scanner is, I guess.
Yeah, so good fun. Back on the game board, Sun's team has arrived at one of the final rounds, which is a narrow hallway, like underground room that's filled with claw machines, like in single file row. It's just like claw machine after claw machine after claw machine.
What a horrifying sight.
It's a little creepy. And they ascertain that they need to find a key in one of the claw machines to open the box of the room to get the next die that'll get them to the finale. So they have to like look through all the claw machines trying to find this key.
Okay. And those things are impossible, as we all know.
Yeah. So they decide they're going to split up into pairs, and Sun and Day, of course, end up together as their pair.
Of course.
And as they're wandering through, they split the room. As they're wandering through, Sun just spends the entire time staring at Day, which is the least helpful thing. Because if he likes her and wants her to stay, he should be very motivated to find the key.
What a creepy dude.
This is how you lose and you get sent home, Sun. So when
Day.
No, I was talking about Sun.
Well, Sun won't get sent home. Day will.
Yeah, but that's how she loses and she gets sent home. This is how you lose and she gets sent home.
Oh, sorry, look.
I may not have said that.
I don't remember. Anyway, the point is, dude, stop creeping. Like, this is what happens when you don't socialize people and you keep them on a compound.
Yeah. So when she catches him staring, he apologizes for the night where she told him that he was living in a golden tower, judging those who didn't. You might remember that conversation.
Yeah, I got the gist.
Yeah. And she admits that she wasn't being herself at the dinner because he was right. And, she was motivated by trying to stay and not actually getting to know him. And explains that she's in the competition to get medical care for her sister. And he wishes her luck in winning. And I still think they would have better luck if they were looking for the key.
Nah, look, it's going to fall into their lap. It's perfect. It's fine.
Yeah, because somehow magically, the one that they stop in front of to have the conversation, and then they almost kiss, there's a key. There's a key right behind them. It's on a bear, which has a necklace on it, and there's a little key on the necklace.
Well, it's not convenient.
I thought so. So they're like, oh, yay, we found the key. Everybody rushes over. But then they quickly realize there's also a bear in the one that's across from them. Like there's two claw machines that have bears with keys in them. So it's obvious, at least to them, that there's two in case another team shows up so they can like battle it out because there's only one box with a die.
That's sure. Why not?
Yeah. And even though they were very much ahead of everybody because it's movie rules, Almond's team shows up right then.
Of course they do. You got to have the tension.
Yeah. So apparently each claw machine requires 4 teammates to use the joystick together. It has like 4 buttons. Each one has a direction on it, which is kind of fun.
That is like really goofy.
And Almond's team is clearly much better at teamwork than Sun's team, who like keep arguing because, it's Day and Chanel and Bovie and Sun. And yet somehow Almond's team still manages to like get the bear, but it doesn't make it into the thing. So then they have to get the bear again. And then Sun's team's freaking out that they're going to lose. So they buckle down and they, get their spirit together. And they somehow manage to get the key before Almond's team, which doesn't make any sense because they argued for so much of that competition.
It should 100% be Almond's team. Sorry. These names are getting to me.
There's too many people.
Yeah, and also, like, I haven't seen any of them, so it's hard to associate the name with the person when I'm just going off of, But yes, I agree. Almond should have trounced them, because teamwork should make the difference. Should make the dream work.
Yeah, that's like the whole point is, you have to get teamwork in order to make it work, and nope, somehow they still win. It's ridiculous.
Nonsense. I object. Rigged. It's all rigged.
I mean, probably.
Yeah.
So, so they get into their car and they're driving towards the finish line. And unfortunately, on their way there, the car pops a tire. Womp womp.
Dang.
And then weirdly, they let Sun sit there. He's got like the manual out. He's trying to figure out how to fix the tire because he's probably not driven much in his entire life since, he lives in a gated palace.
Yeah, of course.
And they get passed by Max, and somehow Almond's still not right behind them, which doesn't make any sense because Almond was like right behind them. Like, I don't understand how that works. And so, like I said, Max like pulls up and is like, oh, sucks to be you, and drives off. And then I guess that motivates Day, who gets out of the car, and apparently she knows how to change a tire, but was just letting Sun sit there. It doesn't make the scene makes no sense.
Wait. I think so Day knows how to change a tire from living in the city.
Because she's done like 12 million part-time jobs.
Right, but up to this point, she was like, well, we popped the tire. I guess I could change it and save my butt in this competition, but I think I'm going to wait until I get teased by somebody driving past us.
Yeah, she was just like sitting in the car, and Sun was sitting on the side of the road with the manual out trying to figure out how to change this tire. And then once Max pulls up, she's like, fine, I guess I'll come help. Does she want to lose? Nonsense. What is she doing?
Yeah, this is how you lose.
I'm so mad at them. And everybody's impressed by how quickly she changes the tire. And I was like, you could be in front of Max.
You would have been there, or you could have won. Oh.
It's very frustrating. So Max has made it, obviously, to the finish line way ahead of them, and he's just strolling. What it is this really, really long pier, and there's a giant red button at the end of it that he has to push in order to win.
And so he's like milking it, and
he's like, "Thank you, everybody. I'm here. I'm a winner." And of course, as he's
tortoise
doing
in the
that,
hair.
Absolutely. As they are doing that, they look behind them and they see that Sun's team has made it, and Sun and them are like rushing up the pier trying to pass them. So then Max and him get into this like very comedic race trying to make this long pier to this red button so that they can press it. And then Max, who, as I said repeatedly, takes off his shirt at any given moment, it like rips off his shirt as he's running in like slow motion. And then all the hosts are like, oh, there he goes again. And then suddenly Sun does as well. He like pulls his shirt off, and then it's very funny scene, actually.
You want your shirt off? I'll take my shirt off.
Yeah, the best part of that scene, though, is when Sun pulls his shirt off, like for obviously no reason whatsoever other than Max also did it. There's a shot of Day looking at, like, all the girls are screaming really excitedly, and Day's looking very confused, and she's like, why? It's very funny. She's like the audience going like, what? Why? Why would you take your shirt off?
That is very funny.
It's a good scene. So they both slow motion dive for the red button, and Sun somehow manages to touch it like literally a millimeter. Like their fingers are touching each other's, and Sun's is ahead of Max's. And he presses the red button.
Whatever.
I know. And everybody's excited. And then the announcers let everybody know that the totals for the girls going into this round, like over all the numbers, and announce that there's been a change up. They will not be including the fan favorite points this round.
What? Those are the East supposed to fake, as you said.
Yeah, but it's always like leaning in Day's side, so I'm sure the concept was so that Chanel wouldn't lose her.
I know they're doing that, but they could just fake them and make Chanel like eke her out or something.
I agree. So Day's sister, you see a cut of Day's sister with her little team of people who, all support Day. And she's like, I don't think so. And she like rallies all of her internet comrades together to like start complaining. And you see Jenny looking at a screen of just a wash of complaints and refusals to watch the show again, and how it's all rigged and it's, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, duh. What I think was good. This is like how the idiots in the Hunger Games kept changing the rules. Like, morons. We're all morons.
Yeah, at some point it becomes obvious that the government's just faking it all.
I mean, you gotta have at least plausible deniability. You can't just be like, so I don't understand. You and I would run a dystopia with an iron fist and an airtight system. It would be so much better than all these chuckleheads.
And we could have great reality TV shows.
We would have the best reality TV shows to keep the populace distracted and placated. It'd be amazing. Hey, dystopian leaders, call us.
Or don't.
I mean, fictional dystopian leaders, let's be clear. We don't want anyone we don't want actual autocrats. We want, fictional dystopia megalomaniacs.
All right. Well, anyway, moving on. That evening on the beach, they're doing their end of competition date choosing, where the winners get to choose which guys they're going to date. Chanel's coming first with her point total, so she picks Sun. No surprise there.
Duh.
And Bovie comes in second, and she picks Max, who she has a ginormous crush on. Not that will ever come to fruition.
Maxie,
since,
Mr. Chesty.
Yeah, and poor Max. He looks very disappointed. Max is very attractive, so I was a good person to choose for taking off his shirt continuously.
I mean, yeah, I support it.
Day ends up coming in last, but she is in the top 5, and she is left with
How'd
Almond.
she come in last?
So she gets... Because they don't have the fan favorites. And she got 4 points on the date total, which brought her down to the bottom 5th place.
Oh, they're still counting the date total. Got it.
Yeah, this is like based on all point totals.
Okay,
so even though her team was first, but Chanel and Bovie were on her team, so they're obviously still higher above than she is. And then
I thought they were all on the same team, so they get the same points. But
I think they probably all did get the same points. Yeah, it's cumulative. And one of the other girls got some kind of card during the game, so she got to steal the points of another player. So like she was fourth or whatever, third, fourth, and so like you get the spiel about why everybody is placed where they are.
Sure. All right.
So she asks Almond to please give her a good score because, Sun didn't.
Yeah, right.
And he's like, yeah, I would never give you a low score because he's obviously head over heels for her. It's pretty cute.
Yeah.
He's a good actor for it. I've seen him in a few things. He's quite a good actor for that role, I think, because he plays
for Day, Almond is as good as Sun.
Yeah, for her, I don't think it should. I mean, she's like obviously a little attached to Sun for no reason right now, but like for her, it shouldn't matter. She should definitely be going for whoever will take her.
I just want to point out the sentences this episode has made me say, like, today, Almond is as good as Sun, which is a nonsense sentence.
Not with their names.
That's something a toddler would say when they're first learning about nouns.
Well, that's the best part of all the Thai dramas are the fun names.
I mean,
I'm sure our names seem just as nonsensical to them.
Right, but we don't use, like, Thai nouns as nicknames in our dramas.
Oh, they're English nouns, actually.
Right. They use English nouns in their shows. We don't use, like, Thai nouns in our shows.
That's true. We do not.
So, I mean, I would give them more license to make fun of us. We just took random Thai words and made them our nicknames.
We should have more Thai words. Do we have any, like, borrowed Thai words?
What?
Other than food? Like, maybe food names
I don't know, Danielle. I'd have to, yeah. All right. Linguists out there, let us know.
Anyway, as they get ready for dinner, they appear on the beach to do their dinner. They realize a table is missing in the main dining area, and an announcement comes over the robot speaker. Remember the robot speaker, Sam?
Oh, with the satellite dish, right?
Yeah. So the robot speaker comes over to let them know that Day and Almond have their own special seating because Day won the popular vote.
Oh, so they did bring the popular vote back.
Yeah, but you kind of get the idea that maybe they were going to try and take it out, and then it was so problematic with the audience that they were like, just kidding. We're going to put it back.
It was they played off as a fake. Sure.
Yeah. It's what you kind of get the idea. It could have been a ploy, and then you can see a little cut to the sister who's like, now I feel kind of bad that we were so mean to them.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. There is a funny scene with I didn't put it in my notes, but I'll tell you now because I thought of it. The robot speaker scene, they say Almond, or they say, not Almond, Day, you've come in 5th, and she's surprised that she's, that she scored it all. And they're like, you need to choose one of the boys to have a date with. There's only Almond left, but she's just standing there blinking I won? I wasn't expecting to win. And the speaker's like, you need to choose a date. And she's just still standing there. And then you see the speaker suddenly right over her shoulder, it zoomed in really close. And it's like, you need to choose a date. It's this weird sentient robot. It's very funny.
Creepy. Very creepy.
Almond so they go to their little table, and it's out on a pier, kind of in the water, one of those floating piers, and there's a little tent and a table and dinner and everything. And Almond is wearing, for no reason whatsoever, a khaki shirt and khaki pants, so he looks like he's leading a safari.
Is he wearing the pith helmet?
No, I wish he was, but the whole outfit looks like it. And he's clearly really into Day as they're talking over dinner. And later, everyone is dancing. They just dancing after dinner. And Max asks Bovie why she sticks around for Chanel's abuse. And Bovie tells him...
Good question.
It is a great question. And Bovie's like, not everything's what it seems like. When I was little, nobody wanted to be friends with me. And then Chanel came along and she wanted to be my friend. And Chanel's life isn't easy. And it seems like maybe it's perfect, but it actually really sucks. And she seems like she's fierce, but she's very fragile. So I'm not going to leave her just because she's occasionally mean to me.
Oh, we don't understand the burdens of the rich and powerful and how hard it is to be them. I don't buy it. I don't need your capitalist propaganda. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in Chanel's life, but the biggest thing that she seems to have confronted in her whole life, at least up to this point, other than kind of a, terrible mother, is that she has to marry a boy she likes who may not like her back.
Which, it's not a great feeling, but, it could be worse.
But, like, if that's your biggest, the hump you have to get over, I don't know.
Yeah, there are way worse things to deal with.
She likes Sun, or she likes him. Like, she would be happy to be married. At least at this point, she would be happy to be married to him. It's just the Sun doesn't like her.
Yeah, sure.
So, back to the solo table with Day and Almond, and they're doing some kind of, like, weird choreographed dance number, which is so good.
Okay.
I should find a clip of it. It's just like, there's no reason for it. Like, all the other couples are just dancing normally, and then they're over on the dock, like, just having their best time. Like, they're doing these, like, weird choreographed dance number.
As long as they're having fun.
They are. It, like, ends in, like, a dance-off where they're, like, each competing, and they should definitely be together because they're, like, a great match.
I mean, do what they say. The couple that dances together prances to... I don't know. I don't know what they say.
No, it's the problem with all shows where the second lead almost universally is better than the first lead.
Well, that is your opinion, yes. We know that you have a penchant for the second lead over everyone else.
That's because usually second leads in TV shows are the ones that, like, actually listen to the person. They're not mean for no reason. They're like, they don't have some weird childhood thing where they like knew each other from childhood. Yeah. Like, they're like normal functioning adult people who are usually really nice because they need to be threatening to the main lead.
But they're too boring to be the one they end up with.
Yeah, but they're like boring, quote unquote, for TV. In real life, they'd be like the perfect match for anybody because they're nice, like healthy adult people.
We can't have that, Danielle. That's no fun.
Yeah. No, they always go for the person who's like really mean to them.
Really? It hasn't worked for me. Heyo. I'm not mean to people.
You're like the nicest person.
Oh, thank you.
Not to me, but to other humans. He's super nice, everybody.
I'm nice to everyone but my friends.
All right, as they're dancing, Day's necklace falls off, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Almond hands it back to her, and he's like, hey, that's weird. Sun has a necklace that looks a lot like that. Like,
bum, bum, bum.
One of those, like, halves of a necklace that piece together. And somehow the cameras don't seem to catch any of these interactions, even though the hosts were just commenting about, oh, look at them doing their little dance-off, like, so they see them dancing. I'm assuming it's mic'd, because why would you just have cameras?
Yeah, I would hope. I mean, I guess if you want to have like security camera style footage for whatever reason.
Yeah, but it suggests that this is all part of the competition. It's all being filmed. I assume it's all being mic'd, but yet they have these private conversations all of the time that aren't caught up by cameras.
That is... like, what is our camera crew doing?
I don't know. So, meanwhile, back at camp, Valentine is over there using her magic phone image to make a thumbprint so she can sneak into the restricted area.
No, I mean, makes perfect sense to me. No complaints.
So she follows behind, like she uses the thumbprint. She opens the door. It opens into a long, dark hallway because I guess you can't have lights on in a restricted area.
No, that'd be too easy. Or cameras, or an alarm system.
Anything else.
Yeah.
So no, this is
a
just
guard,
like a
singular person sitting on a chair watching the door.
Nope, it's just no cameras, nothing. It's just a dark, endless hallway.
A set of tin cans tied to the doorknob, so when you open it, it rattles at least.
And there is a computer room at the end of this hallway. Like that seems to be all that's in there.
Okay,
so just a long hallway with a computer at the end. And the thumbprint gets her into the computer. Why the host of a TV show has top secret access to a facility is beyond me.
The hosts are the talent. They have no need to be involved in the production on any level.
And this seems to be like not production of the TV show even. Or maybe it is, but like it seems to be like information for the farm in general. Like this is a top secret computer. Why the host would have information is crazy.
That doesn't make any sense.
It does not, but I think they just didn't want to have another random character introduced, so they used somebody that was there.
Okay, works for me, I guess.
So, like I said, the thumbprint gets her into the computer, she opens up the drive and drills down to the farm, 1996, and is like, Mom, I found him, she whispers to herself.
It's gotta be Sun, right?
I don't know, you'll find out.
Okay.
That's your best guess?
I mean, maybe it's Max or Almond.
You think it's even one of the competitors? I could not be a competitor. Maybe it's another character.
I'm guessing it's possible it could be someone else who hasn't been mentioned yet, but why would they do that?
I don't know. I was just throwing it out there for funsies.
Sure.
You're going to find out in like 3 seconds.
Oh, great. Perfect. Thank you.
So 29 years ago, a
29 years ago, when I was a young lad.
It cuts back. 29 years ago, a baby has just been born in what is clearly some kind, it looks like an underground medical facility, or definitely not a normal hospital. It's very dark. And they are interrupted by soldiers pouring into the room. The mom cries out to the doctor to take her son and run. And then a soldier jabs a needle into her neck.
Oh, vicious.
I know. You see a flash of Valentine as an adult asking her mom if she ever thinks she imagined the whole thing. And her mom in a voiceover says she had believed them. She had thought she had lost her baby, and they had told her the stress had affected her mind and created hallucinations. And you see a glassed-in room with white-suited psychiatric patients taking medications. And she continues with the voiceover, and she says, "But believe me, Valentine, it was all lies. The government lied and controlled us all." And you see one of the patients in the room is the mom, and she secretly spits out her pills after she's given them. And then the screen flashes to the computer, and you see Valentine pulling up information about, drumroll please.
Thank you, Danielle, for providing your drum roll.
Almond! It's Almond!
It's Almond. All right. That makes sense.
The voiceover continues, "Your brother must live on the farm with no chance to choose his own life."
No chance.
Valentine hears a noise and she closes out the computer, sneaking out of the facility. But alas, she drops her badge as she runs.
Oh, no. Tragedy.
Yeah. So as she pops out the other end of the hallway, a guard intercepts her, asking her what she's doing there. But before she can answer, Almond steps in and tells the guard that she was looking for new shooting locations and he was showing her around. And the guard totally accepts this and reminds them, hey, don't forget, just over there's a restricted area. You really shouldn't be around here.
Fire them. Fire them immediately.
They're like, yep, we'll leave. Sorry about that. So the guard leaves and Almond looks over at her and smiles, saying he remembers her. And this freaks her out, obviously.
How? Yeah.
But he goes on to say that he remembers her from the interviews and filming from earlier because she was on the production team.
Sure.
So he reminds her to be careful wandering around, and I think he's just being a nice guy, and he goes to leave. Before he can leave, Valentine asks him if he's available for more footage, looking hopeful. She clearly wants to get to know him better now that she knows it's him. Meanwhile, back with Day, she's found, it's their day off on set. They have the whole day off. And she's found some kind of aquarium that exists. I don't know why an aquarium is there, but there is. And she's looking for Sun, and she finds him there. And you hear her memory of Almond saying her necklace looked familiar. And to her credit, and the TV show's credit, she is very straightforward when she finds Sun. She's like, hey, someone mentioned that we have the same necklace. It's not like one of those TV shows that plays around. Yeah. So he pulls it off his neck and moves forward, piecing it together with hers. It's a perfect match. It'd be funny if it wasn't.
They can't possibly mass produce those things at all, could they?
I have no idea what this is because, maybe it has something that maybe a Thai person would look at and be like, oh, that has significance and I know what that is. It kind of looks like a coin of some kind that's been... It's clearly already cut in half, and it seems magnetic when he puts them together, the two pieces go together. But he's put a hole through it to make it into a necklace, so they both have on necklace sides. But previously, the two pieces were just together magnetically, and that feels like a recipe for a piece just popping off randomly. Magnets, on your necklace, just will come off. That
does not seem like it would work.
Yeah. So, like I said, the pieces stick together. He smiles, laughing that she finally remembered who he was. And Day is very excited to have found her childhood friend, and they hug it out. And he gives her a really hard time about it taking so long to figure out. And she's like, well, I thought you were a girl when I met you.
Why did he just say something?
Because I don't know. He's being secretive. I don't know why. Pot?
I refuse to accept it.
Well, like I said, she points out that when they were kids, she thought that he was a girl because there were no boys.
Obviously.
So, why would she think that he grew up to be a boy? So you see a flashback to her taking him to her hideout. I guess it's through an abandoned parking structure. It's in the back somewhere, and it's got a whole little shed thing out there that's got lights and curtains hung up, but it's clearly someplace that she just hangs out as a little kid.
Sure.
And she has, found him after he's escaped from the farm. She decides he's not talking to her at the beginning, and she decides she's going to name him Meow Meow because he reminds her of like a stray cat.
Okay, sure.
And he eventually does talk to her, and he ends up asking her if she knows his mom because that's where his dad was trying to take him. But she's like, there are a lot of moms here. Do you know which mom is yours? Because I don't know which mom is yours.
Yeah, right.
But obviously he doesn't know that. He's never been outside the farm. So feeling bad for him, she tells him that before her mom went to heaven, she gave her the necklace and told her it would protect whoever wore it. So she breaks off the piece and gives it to him, telling him it'll protect him and it'll help him find his mom. So that's how he ended up with the piece of necklace. I know.
That's so
cute.
Sweet.
So sometime later, like, I don't know, the next day, a week from now, time has no meaning. It's sometime
Never
later.
does in these shows.
She is, skipping through the abandoned parking lot. She's on her way back to the hideout where she's been keeping Meow Meow. But the front, as she approaches the front of the abandoned structure, it's been burned out, like the entryway where she was coming in.
Ooh.
And when she runs up to the fort, it's all been torn apart and destroyed. And Meow Meow's missing.
Not Meow Meow.
So how people found him, because it's clear that the farm came back and, like, took him, but how they found him is a mystery. Is he tracked? Does he have a tracker in him? They should put trackers in the boys. I don't know what they're thinking.
That seems like an obvious solution.
But that doesn't seem to be the case in this TV show. But, like, they somehow found him, that they, I don't know, use some kind of electronic device in the air to, like, look for him. Who knows? So they apparently found him. They brought him back to the farm and he disappears. Day asks, in present day, if his dad was brought back too. But he says, no, it was just him. And he feels like he's no different than the fish in the tank in front of them. He's just
trapped.
Trapped. So she gives him back his half of the necklace, telling him it'll protect him, and then invites him on a date. Aw, they're so cute.
Yeah, they don't, but aren't the dating part over?
They're just like going on their own date together.
Oh, are they allowed to do that outside of the show?
We will find out in this episode, Sam.
Well, I'm sorry, but I mean, it seems like she's just like, oh yeah, of course we can go on a date. But wouldn't he be like, no, that is not allowed. No fraternizing.
I mean, she doesn't specifically say, let's go on a date. She's like, let's go hang out. We have all day off. Let's do something together.
Okay, sure.
But I think it's clear that they're both kind of rebelling a little bit against the institution. So if they want to go on a date, they can go on a date.
Sure, I'm not going to stop them.
I doubt it's the first time that people have gone on secret dates on this TV show.
Ooh, scandalous.
So meanwhile, Paper is messing with his radio some more, excited to hear the Beyond the Wall song again as it comes on. And somehow, don't ask me how, I don't know if I missed it or it just happens, but Paper has gotten the phone number for Chun and they begin texting. Apparently texting all night long.
Just like over the radio phone number magic.
Well, there's a line later which doesn't make any sense when he's talking to Bovie about it, where she's like, he never messages anybody back, like Chun doesn't. And I'm like, well, does he? Why is his phone number so well known? Available, does he say it on his like radio show? And if he says it on his radio show, how come he never texts anybody back?
Say. Like, thank you for listening to the broadcast. You can reach me at this number, and I will not respond.
I will never respond.
So have fun texting me for no reason.
I mean, maybe it's just like a text number that he just takes requests on. I don't know, but apparently he decided to text this guy back. And
nonsense.
They text all night. Like I said, it cuts to him telling Bovie about it the next day. And she's fascinated by the story as Paper recaps it, and Paper's very excited about the developments as well. And Chun has invited him to meet up, but Paper admits to Chun that he can't because, he lives on the farm. He's not allowed to leave.
Right.
And Chun asks him if it bothers him, and Paper's like, well, I've never known anything else. Like, a fish can't imagine flying like a bird. And you hear Chun laugh, because they got, like, voiceovers. Chun laughing, saying, well, you're not a fish. Why don't you come fly with the birds? And Paper looks thoughtful.
Ooh.
So then it flashes back to him telling Bovie all of this. And Bovie says it sounds like a confession. And Paper looks kind of hopeful for a minute. And she asks him how he feels about that. And he's like, well, I don't know. I like Chun, but, I also like you. Like, I kind of like you guys equally, to be honest. I'm not really sure how I feel about either of you. And Bovie suggests doing a test. And she leans forward to kiss him. And then it's actually a really well filmed scene, just for the record. It's like seeing that thing where the sun glares and everything turns gold,
Ooh.
There's some really interesting stuff in the show. And she asks him what he thinks, and he tentatively shakes his head, and she laughs. She's like, yep, you're just like me. I've kissed a lot of girls in dramas, and I thought kissing a guy would be different, but it wasn't. Maybe. And she's like, I think Max might be the only guy for me, and they both laugh about it. And she's like, well, maybe you're into guys, like, you know.
I was going to say, like, what happens if one of the men is, like, queer?
Yeah, and he doesn't answer that. He's obviously contemplating that because I'm sure he hasn't had the opportunity to do that since he knew his whole life he was going to have to be married to a girl.
Right? That's terrible.
Yeah. So back in the behind the scenes of the competition, Jenny approaches Valentine with her badge in tow, which they found on the floor of the area.
Restricted area?
Yeah, accusing her of snooping around, and Jenny wants to know what she was doing there. Valentine tries to play it off, but Jenny isn't having it, and she says she has every right to send her to the farm, and she does not want that. And that's the first time, interestingly, that you hear the farm is like a threat.
Right. I was going to say, like, is the farm like when you send your dog to the farm to live in a farm upstate? Or is it like the farm is where all the people get to live who are rich and powerful? Like, make up your mind.
It makes it sound like it's like the community where obviously the men live and like probably the richer classes live as well, or like an addendum area to that. And so I assume it's like a government seat. So when I think what she's trying to say is like,
they'll have you like prosecuted.
Like at the farm like that. But they, up to that point, had really suggested that the farm was just where the guys lived, and it made it sound like a nice little complex.
Yeah, I'd be like, if all I had to do was break in here and get sent to the farm, sign me up.
So I don't think that's what that is. And Valentine admits, finally, that her brother is there and her mom wants to meet him. That her mom said he was brought there without her consent, that she was confined, drugged, and tortured. And Jenny looks super shook by this revelation, as one might be.
Because she's a true believer.
Because she has a baby boy in her belly, so...
Well, that too.
But she, it says the rules are there for a reason, and if she breaks them again, she'll be sent to the farm. And Valentine is surprised that she's not in more trouble, obviously, because she thought she was going to be like sent immediately to the farm. And Jenny obviously is like drawing back just because she's got her own personal stuff going on. And so Valentine, escapes from the room while she's got some grace there.
Sure. Yes, the government you work for is evil. Oh no.
Yeah. And the shot like lingers on Jenny looking very bereft as she's contemplating her life decisions. All right, cut to Jenny and her partner talking about what to do with their child, who, like I said, is obviously a boy, as you said.
Time to get outside the wall.
Jenny tries to convince them that they can just send him off to the farm and see him when he's an adult. No. They make it sound like that's a common thing, and then it makes me wonder about how this is all set up. Like, so if you willingly give up your child, are you allowed to see them when they're of age? Like, you can have a relationship with them after that, but if they, like, steal the baby from you, you're not allowed to do that? Like, what are the rules?
Also, why? Why steal babies at all?
Well, I think the concept, at least how it's framed in the show, is like all the men are raised with like the strictest like medical care and diet, and like they're made like so that they survive to, adulthood.
Right. Invite the family to live on the farm then. Like, oh, you're having a baby? Congratulations. You won the baby lottery. You and your family are going to live on the farm. We'll take the best care of your son.
Yeah, and mentally, that would probably be best for everybody, too.
I mean, that'd also be the one that is least likely to result in you being overthrown, which is why rebellion. We would make better dystopian rulers than these morons.
I agree. If you're having a baby boy, apparently you get to go live on the farm.
That'd be great. People be like, oh, I can't wait to have a boy who live on the farm. Not like, oh no, they stole my baby and I have to go take down the government now.
Yeah, because the entire rebellion is like a group of people who are against this particular thing. So yes. That would make the most amount of sense.
I'm sorry. Call me despotic leaders in fictional dystopias. I can save you.
Your problem solver. You'll listen to the plan and then be like, okay, back it up.
All right. So your problem is you want to put all the pain and image into one child. And then if he runs away, those all flow back to everyone else. Well, that's not going to work.
So, yeah, call Sam. 1-800-CALL-SAM.
1-800-FIX MY DYSTOPIA.
All right, anyway. So Jenny's like, let's just send him off to the farm. We'll see him when he's an adult. And her partner is obviously very against this idea.
No kidding.
But mentions very cautiously that she's heard of this group that could help them. It's called City Ground. And Jenny is aghast. She's worked so hard for her career and she doesn't know if she can sacrifice it for a child. And they could try again. And, like, they could have maybe a girl next time and they just visit their son when he's illegal. She's obviously torn. It's not like she's just saying this kid doesn't mean anything.
This baby don't mean nothing to me. Send it to the farm. I'll have a girl.
And like I said, I'm very confused by how this system works because, like, did Valentine's mom just refuse to give up her son? So now she can't see him? Like, what's the plan?
Yeah, no, again, this is why we should be consulted on all future dystopias.
Yeah. So I guess they decide they're not going to contact City Ground should it exist. And Jenny says in the morning she's going to inform the authorities. And her partner's like, no, I'm the doctor. I'll do it.
And then she doesn't. Duh. Does Jenny know her partner at all? Or is she just like, this is the first time she ever met her partner?
I don't think we find out in this episode if she actually did or not.
All right.
Back at camp, Day and Sun are sneaking out in what is clearly daytime, but with a filter over the camera. Like the most
like blue filters?
Yeah, like one of the most obvious filters I've seen in a very long time.
I thought those were only done in like cheap B movies from like the 1960s and 70s.
It's very obviously day. It's actually alarmingly bad. The rest of it's so well filmed. I don't know. Like, it's like maybe they just couldn't do a nighttime shoot. I don't know what happened there.
Wow, very impressive.
It's really funny. Sun is dressed up with a wig on in case they're spotted, so he might look like a girl in passing, I guess. And to their surprise... Is he wearing, like,
a fake bust, too? Because...
No, he's just wearing, like, a jacket and pants and just a wig.
Very nondescript. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if all the men wore specific clothing that was very obviously like male clothing.
No, only during the competition does, like, do people have, like, outfits on that bench.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. To their surprise, this scene goes on forever, but I'm going to skip all of that. And to their surprise, they come across Paper sneaking out as well in a very similar getup, except he also has a dress on. Why? I don't know, but he looks like a ghost. It's very funny.
Does he look good in the dress? I mean, I imagine so.
He looks totally fine. It's just that it's like one of those like almost white Victorian like
like a nightgown.
Nightgown, yeah.
It's like a nightgown. Like a sundress. Like that'd be kind of fun and playful.
No, he's got like a full length like to the floor white gown on, and then the
Paper,
long
what
wig.
Are you doing, man? Get your fashion sense together.
I'm like, just do what the other guy did. Like wear jeans and a sweater,
or wear like. I don't know, a nicer dress.
It's so funny. Just like, yeah, it's a full-on nightgown style dress. And Paper wants to go with them. Like he wants to sneak out with them.
Why?
Because he wants to meet up with June.
Oh.
So he's made plans to meet with June.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah. So apparently they make it to the woods, like where the dad, was previously. Yeah. And there are apparently no cameras in the woods as far as I can tell, because they're just running through the woods, no issues.
That's what they want you to think, Danielle. No cameras in the woods, but they put cameras everywhere. Maybe on their way back in.
I don't know. Like I said, it's very unlikely there are no cameras in the woods, but perplexingly, and I don't understand it on second watch either, but they make it to the road like that leads out where the boy had made it, where Son had made it before, and there's just like a car parked there, like this little car
waiting for them
there, waiting for them. Nobody's planned this. Where did the car come from?
So they called like a ride share to come. Hey, meet us at the spooky woods of the farm. Don't ask questions.
Yeah, maybe like it's just sitting. It's a rental car. And it's like it's actually funny because apparently it's a rental
empty,
car.
Or is there like someone there waiting for them?
It's empty.
Oh,
so
what?
It's like it's a rental car, but the funny part is that like it's a rental car that apparently the boys have done a advertisement on, and they're all excited that they get to like really drive the car this time because they just didn't advertise
like an ad for the car, but they get to drive it.
Yeah, and then they do like a little like ad as they're standing there next to the car, which the show does a lot because it's very Truman-esque in that way. Like it just has a bunch of random ads in it because that's the style of the show.
The actual ads for like actual products?
I don't know, and I'm actually very curious if anybody watches this show and knows Thailand stuff. Please let me know if any of these things are actual real products, because I would be curious if they're like advertising real stuff. Because it's not like standard PPL. It's more just like it's like obviously tongue in cheek, but it made me wonder if any of the stuff was actually real.
Good question. Anyway, that's fun.
It is fun. It's a tiny little car. They get into it and they like decide to drive off. So back at camp, Almond has apparently called Valentine to hang out because he wanted to cook some food up, and he thought Valentine could maybe get some shots for it for the competition, since she had asked if she could, do more film footage for him. And so as they're sitting there, they're kind of chatting, and Valentine asks him about his family, if he misses them. And he's like, no, family is about more than blood and DNA. And I grew up here. And she's like, I'm sure my mom had reasons for giving me up. And the people here are the ones I'm closest to. Like, I consider them my family.
I'm going to say there's a big difference between found family and kidnapped into a family.
But he thinks he was given up for
I know. He doesn't know that he was. Yes, I'm putting that out there.
To be clear, all the boys think this. Any of the boys that are here, all of them have been told that their parents willingly gave them up.
And all you have to do is bring the parents along, and none of this would have happened.
Yeah. So every single person believes this, supposedly. And he knows that he has it good, where he lives in, splendor, essentially. Like, he understands that he lives like a really good life compared to a lot of people. So no, he doesn't think about his family, and no, he doesn't mind living there. He really enjoys it. And she ends up walking over to the camera and turning off. And she's like, what would happen if you found out your family hadn't wanted to give you up and wanted to get in touch with you? And he basically cuts her off, and he's like, I don't want to see them, because if they reach out to me, they're breaking the law, and I don't want them to get in trouble, and I'm happy here. So why upset that balance? Like, I don't need to see my family. They don't need to get in trouble, and I'm content how life is right now. Not
bad logic, to be honest.
Yeah. Almond's an interesting character, as you'll see as we go on. And so Valentine obviously is not super pleased by this because, she wants to know her brother.
Well, of course.
So back in the city, they drop Paper off at a bus stop, and this is where you see that the car they're driving is absolutely insane. So it's like maybe made for one person, because the car is like maybe...
What?
It's a little bit bigger than a smart car. Like, it can fit 2 people in the front, but the steering wheel is dead center in the middle of the car. And so to sit 2 people in the front, you have to sit really close together to one side. So there's like a good 8 inches to the right of Day as she's driving. And then Day and Sun have to squish really close together to be in the front seat of the car together, because the steering wheel's in the center of the front console.
What? How does that make
so
what?
Weird. I don't know. It's like, it looks like maybe it's just a car for one person in front, but it clearly can fit 2 people, and I don't know why the car is designed.
Is it like
way.
You're supposed to share the steering? Like, you sit on one side and you just have one hand on the steering when you drive together? What is the plan here?
I actually paused it the first time I watched it. I was like, what is going on with this car? Why does it look wrong? I had to figure out what was wrong with it.
It just had that uncanny valley of car.
I was just like, why are they sitting so close together? And then I realized the steering wheel was dead center in the middle of the console. I was like, oh yeah, well that explains that, but why?
That is an excellent, maybe it was like a robo-taxi or something where you had one person in the front driving and you had everyone else in the back, but still, what a waste of space.
Yeah, and they're super squished together, and then Paper gets out of the back seat, so there's apparently space enough for a back seat, and instead of him getting to the back seat and Day continuing to drive, I get that they're attracted to each other, but they sit just literally hip to hip, the rest of the way in the car, even though he can move to the back seat. It's just nonsense.
No. Wow. Bad design, car. Bad.
That is pretty funny. Anyway, they drive off, and meanwhile, back with Paper, a random dude puts a handkerchief over his eyes as a blindfold and tells him he's being kidnapped, but he seems totally okay with this, so we're assuming it's June.
Okay, sure.
Day decides to take Sun out on the town, basically, to have him experience the city life. So he gets to eat junk food for the first time, because we find out at this point that apparently his entire life has been monitored by trainers and dietitians, and he's not allowed to do anything that might harm his body, which I guess makes sense, but I hadn't thought about it up to this point.
Yeah, what a sad world to live in. No junk food for them.
No, so he's pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
And then she takes him on a surprise visit to meet her sister. Yay! Because that's her favorite person in the competition is Sun.
Aww.
And it's funny, she opens the door, and then he's just standing there grinning at her without the wig on, and she starts to scream hysterically. It's very cute.
Aww, she's like, my hero!
I know. So she brings him, this Day's still not there. Day's out in the hall or something, but he just shows up randomly, and she's like, oh my god, you're here, come into my apartment. She doesn't question that at all. She doesn't ask where her sister is.
Just by himself, and then did you kill my sister and come here to kill me too?
So she like lets him into the little apartment. It's like very small apartment. And she like shows him with pride. She's like 12 or 11 maybe. Yeah. And she like shows him her stalker wall, which has like 8 million photos of him, like cutouts from magazines. She's like, isn't it beautiful?
Like, back away slowly and no one loses their skin.
He clearly like understands that she's not crazy. He's like, oh, thanks for being a fan. I really appreciate it. Like, he's super sweet with her. And this cat comes in as they're talking and he picks it up and he's like, oh, is this your cat? Which I think is a hilarious question when the cat is like in the apartment.
You don't know. Cats wander places, man.
Well, hilariously, that is true because her May, the sister, she's like, actually, it is not our cat. We just feed the stray cats in the area. We don't have a cat because when Day was little, she lost a cat named Meow Meow. And she looked for it for months and could never find it. And it made her really sad. And basically now she has attachment issues. She doesn't use that phrase. That is my phrase. But that is what she says to Sun.
It'd be funnier if she did say she did that child psychology speak. Like,
I could absolutely
precocious
see
child speak. What I mean, when she's like detachment, that'd be fun.
Yeah. So she basically is like, so now she doesn't have these long-term relationships with people because
or cats
or cats. And obviously this hits the Sun because he was Meow Meow. Like he's the reason why she has attachment issues as an adult. So then Day shows up in the apartment, interrupting the conversation, which she did not overhear. And Sun tells her he wants to go see the old fort that they had gone to as kids.
Can't you just spend some time with your sister first or bring her along?
No. Time to go.
Oh. Hi, I just popped in for 4 seconds. Bye.
They only have a few hours in the city, so I think they're just trying to like make the most of it.
Sure.
So on the walk there, Day asks what would happen if she won the competition, and she asked Sun to be with her, like be her partner. Her husband or whatever. And Sun looks very regretful and is like, that's not possible because the whole competition is just a giant advertisement and the whole thing is rigged.
Advertisement for what? The government?
Everything. I think it's to make the government look good, and then also like there's literal advertisements during it. So I'm sure it's a huge moneymaker for them.
Dang.
I'm skipping over a lot of the advertisements, but they consistently have little like advertisement things going on.
Well, that's fun.
This seems very shocking today because she's not very smart.
Ouch. Shade from Danielle. Ooh. She's going to need to go to the hospital for that burn.
It just seems like most people realize this is pretty like,
rigged.
Fake.
Yeah.
It's reality. She's like, well, reality TV is usually fake. Like she's trying to like think through it, but you can tell she was like very surprised that she's no chance of winning the top prize, of getting
We all
Sun.
know that reality show here is fake.
Yeah. So they continue to the fort, and Day has restored it to its original glory. And you can see everything. He's very excited about it. She's put up lights, all of that kind of stuff.
Ooh.
Sorry, I was seeing. So what it starts to do now is it's interspersed between paper and then Sun and Day. So I tried to make
back
it
and forth.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it as like normal, as like linear as possible. But you cut back to paper.
There, believe me.
Back with paper, we see he's in like what looks to be an underground room with Chun. And Chun explains to him that it's a secret location. And Paper asks him if he's with City Ground. And Chun kind of ignores this question. And Paper insists that Chun fill him in. And Chun's like, well, what do you already know? Let's start with that. And Paper tells him that he knows that City Ground was a group that had resisted the farm and took on the government until they lost and they were purged. And Chun says, yeah, the truth was that their families had been taken away and they were fighting to get them back. And 13 years ago, they had made like a big revolution plan to save a group of people from the farm. I'm assuming they're referencing when like the dad and stuff got out. And when it failed, the men were taken back to the farm and only a few made it out. And the City Ground was purged. And they've been basically like underground ever since. So the government thinks they maybe wiped them out. Cut to Sun saying that the government told them it was to save them. He's like telling them her story about when he was a kid. And the government told them it was to save them from human trafficking. What?
You mean
that is not explained.
The human trafficking that the government is doing, like literally human trafficking.
Like that they think people were going to steal the boys, I guess. Maybe if they lived in the city. I don't know the answer to that, which maybe makes sense. I mean,
maybe they were a kidnap threat. But again, how do you solve this problem, Danielle?
Send the families to the farm.
Yes, send the family to the farm. Get the protection, whatever. You don't steal the children away and drug the parent.
Yeah. But he says it's really a system that keeps men as property for the wealthy and elite. Ready, Set, Love is just propaganda to make them feel free and equal. But all the past ladies that have been like winners in the show paid huge bribes to win.
Oh, this is my shock. You can't see me, Danielle, but my face is so shocked right now. You'd be like, oh, Sam, are you okay? Did you have a heart attack? You're so shocked.
And so they instituted the new lotto system this year because people were kind of catching on. And so they decided this is like a way to kind of like hide the corruption, to like make the people feel like they had a chance to actually win.
One of the insiders always won still, like nonsense.
Yeah, but by making Day seem like maybe she has a chance of winning, it seemed more like realistic. That's the idea.
Whatever. Okay.
I'm not saying it's good, but that's the plan. Day asks if the other men know that the results are fixed, and Sun's like, well, I hope not. I wouldn't even know if I didn't visit Chanel's house so often, but, because I do, and I've been friends with her since childhood, and the mom's in charge of this, like, I found that out through the years. So, cut back to Paper. Paper continues that the mothers who resisted were jailed or sedated, and Chun says basically, they were either re-educated or they never saw them again. And Paper doesn't want to believe that, obviously. He's never heard anything about that at the farm. And I was like, why would you? Why are you're not going to hear about the underground movement at the, like, fancy farm. And Chun says he's been with City Ground his whole life, so he knows basically what's up. Like, he's heard everything. He's not making it up.
Right, of course.
And Paper insists his mom gave him up with her own free will. And like,
Paper does not catch on quick, does he?
He plays it well because you can tell that he obviously is. He
struggling.
Doesn't. Yeah, he's struggling. He doesn't really 100% believe what he's saying. He's like, I don't want to believe what you're saying because I've been told something different my entire life. So he doesn't want to believe Chun. And Chun is like, how many mothers why would so many mothers give up their children? Like, some of the moms got pressured.
Like, you never hear about one who's like, no, let me keep it.
Like, how are there no boys in the city? Like, every single parent has given up their son. It's
amazing how many dystopian, despotic systems are undone by them making one stupid, needlessly cruel decision.
Yes. Like children fighting or another family's not going to the farm.
Yeah, like, just there's nothing that you get from this. It doesn't help you in any way. Like,
and the crazy thing is, at some point you can, I would assume as a leader, you can see where it's arcing, right? You're like, oh, this is becoming a problem. And that would be the time to be like, new plan, all the families can come to the farm.
You like
moving forward, new role.
New administration. We knew that you were unhappy. We listened to the people. We are of the people until we've heard your concerns. And so we're going to make these changes to make you happier, to make a more equitable, more generous future. People would buy that up, and I would never want to be a politician. Yeah.
No, that is not what happens. They always just buckle down and like subvert it more.
It's like awful.
Insane. Yeah, I don't know why. So that's what they decided
I gotta
to do.
say, maybe there's something real about that. Like, you can imagine Stalin would do that kind of thing, right? Or
they don't back it up. They don't like make people happier. They immediately decide to like quash any kind of revolution. Yeah. They want to rule out of fear.
You know what? Maybe I'm the idiot. Maybe this is like an accurate representation of what a despotic dystopia would be like.
Except none of them last. They all crumble at some point. It might take a while, but they do all crumble. But that's
also true of, most despots, right?
Right. But if you had a supposedly generous one, it would probably last a whole lot longer.
Right. I think there must be some kind of connection, Danielle. And this is just me speculating here. But some kind of connection between the kind of person who would like to be a despot or an autocrat and someone who does not think very rationally and or very kindly or think about solutions and merely pushes their own agenda.
That's probably true.
Yeah, just saying. There's a reason you and I haven't started our own coup attempt to overthrow the government and install our own regime.
Because we're both a little lazy, to be honest.
That's a very good. We're a little less lazy. Watch out, world, but we're not, so you're safe.
We'd have to read less. We'd have to watch less TV. We'd have to hang out with our friends less. It would just be a whole thing.
You have to make decisions every day. Like, who needs that kind of pressure?
I already have enough decision fatigue for my own job. I don't need to also add world leader to the list.
We need more lazy despots.
Anyway, so he points out, obviously, this many mothers would not get up their children, and some of the moms got pressured, others got paid, and some of them just got their kids taken away. Just like, they weren't into being pressured or paid, and they were stolen. And some of the moms obviously flat out refused, and City Ground is what was created. And so there's a mix of parents and sons and children that live there, families.
Is City Ground one word or two?
No, it's spelled as two, but English translation.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm thinking I keep thinking ground beef for some reason.
Yeah, City Ground, I didn't think too hard on it, but I'm assuming it's kind of implied underground in the city.
Yeah, I got it.
Paper asks if Chun is saying his mom didn't want to give him up and is now in jail or worse or, dead or,
yes,
what is he? Yeah.
Put the two and two together there, my good man.
And Chun obviously doesn't want to answer this, but invites him to listen to his radio program.
Where I will tell you in song that your mother is suffering.
No, he apparently live plays Beyond the Wall, which is where I assume we find out that he just live plays Beyond the Wall every single time. It's not like you're recording. I don't know.
Does recording media not exist? Also, does he have more than one song, or is it just always Beyond the Wall?
It's always Beyond the Wall that's playing on the radio. Maybe he has more than one song, but that's the only one we hear. It's like That Thing You Do. They only know one song.
Yeah, but That Thing You Do is all about how that's the only song they do. That's like the joke of the movie. But
it's like any TV show, well, not all. Josie and the Pussycats has multiple songs, but most times when there's a
high watermark.
The Commitments also has multiple songs.
Great movie, yeah. So I guess my question is there a radio program like the Underground Radio, just literally him singing one song every day and then apparently that's
live.
it? And
yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I don't know, Sam.
No speeches, no calls to action, no coded messages to get people to rise up. I think Beyond the Wall is
the coded message. It's all about there's a life beyond the wall where you can
But doing the same coded message for years, maybe, I don't know, you could nix it up a bit. All day.
That's
you have to
play
the same song 24/7.
Apparently he gives out his phone number occasionally, so he must do other stuff.
But he never responds to the phone number. We established that.
I don't know, Sam. All you hear is Beyond the Wall, and you see him live play it. So in my headcanon, he only plays Beyond the Wall.
Yep.
He always live plays it, and that's all that's on that radio station.
That's exactly how I want to imagine that people tune in. It's 2:07 p.m. every day. People tune in to hear Beyond the Wall, and then it's just static for the next 24 hours.
Yep, it's just a call to action.
Sure. Amazingly inept.
So Sun admits that it goes back to Sun, obviously. So Sun admits that when he learned about his fate, that he was destined to marry Chanel and trapped in this world, he felt like he was weak and just accepted it. But now he wants to fight it. And they have the radio playing at the fort, of course, and Beyond the Wall is playing on the radio.
Beyond the Wall.
And he leans into Kiss Day, but psych, fireworks go off for funsies.
Where? Why? What?
Just in the sky. Even Day's why are there fireworks?
What the? What? Get back to the board games. Get back to the nonsense. Yeah. Why are we having random fireworks?
You'll have the next episode, I believe it's the next episode, has a bunch of board game stuff in it, Sam, so you'll appreciate that.
I'm just why is this? You distracted me enough with the fire. The fire. Wait a minute, this is nonsense. Give me back to the board games.
So recalling all of a sudden that he's afraid of fireworks.
I forgot I'm afraid of fireworks.
No, he's afraid of fireworks. Day suddenly remembers that Sun is afraid of fireworks, and he's starts to have an anxiety attack, and she ends up putting her hands over his ears, and then in an attempt to distract him, I guess, decides to kiss him. And so that seems to be an effective anti-anxiety trick. So
it usually is for most guys.
Maybe we should do that to everybody having anxiety attacks.
No, do not do that to anyone without their consent, please.
Just kidding. Paper and it cuts back to Paper. Paper insists he has to go catch his ride home, and Chun makes him promise to come again. They've clearly kind of cleared up stuff a little bit, and Paper is pretty into Chun, you can tell. And cutscene to them all being too happy in the car ride home, they're all wearing dopey smiles on their faces.
Aww.
I know. So they make their way back to the woods, where they park the car on the street, back where they found it in the woods.
Why? Is that it's like the rental car pickup and drop-off location? We have a special location in the woods for our pickup drop location for those discrete rental car needs. You need a rental car, but don't want your totalitarian government to know? Use wood pickup for our rental agency.
Maybe it's like automatic, like it drives itself there and then you can pick it up. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's why the wheel's in the middle, because it's supposed to be no one's supposed to drive it.
So they sit in the car kind of silently for a minute, obviously just reflecting over the day and the information they've learned and whether they should go back. And Day kind of half-jokingly suggests that they run away, and they all kind of look at each other sadly. And Day gets mad that the only way to change anything is obviously to go back inside, because if they run away, nothing changes, nobody knows anything's wrong. And
so he's saying there can't be an external revolution, it has to be an internal revolution.
Yes, that's what Day is suggesting.
Okay, sure. I'm not sure I buy that, but go for it.
I will change it from the inside. And Paper says...
That always works.
He speaks up. He says that he wants to go back in. He wants to help his friends. And
That's
he tells them that Shun told him about City Ground and that they have an operative in the inside. And he's like searching for her name. And he finally says, oh, Valentine. And you see Day's face, like shocked face going like, what? That's her best friend.
Aww.
And cut scene to Valentine being like completely stoked that they're all in the know now, and they all buckle down to make a plan to take down the farm. That's where we're gonna leave
the farm. Get those chickens and cows. I don't know what the farm is. We haven't really been there much yet.
It's just a place where people live.
I want to imagine it's just like a regular farm, and it's just like, we just call it the farm to put on airs, but it's just a regular farm.
I can't remember if we make it there or not.
Okay, great. Can't wait to find out. Well, that was a very character-heavy episode.
It was, but that's because you have to get all of that in so that you have something worth fighting for in the last 2 episodes.
I mean, I guess children not being separated from their mothers is not worth fighting for on its own.
And I did warn you that this started very, like, comedic
bubbly
and bubbly,
yeah.
and then slowly got very twisted and dark.
You know what? I appreciate that. I mean, I don't really feel the tone has changed much, but I haven't seen it, and I imagine the tone does change quite dramatically.
I actually think the tonal shift's interesting. It doesn't feel like out of, sometimes tonal shifts in shows feel kind
gradual.
of weird. Well, and it's interesting because the competition stuff is all very colorful and bright and
so it's just introducing like a contrasting point of view with the dark stuff to that.
Yeah, because it's like almost like bouncy and anime-ish style, and then like in a lot of ways, and then or Candyland sort of mentality. It's just like whimsical.
Tell me they don't play Candyland, please.
And then I'm not telling you that. And then they to, and then they go into the like darker scenes, and it's very gray and drab, and just obviously like the complete opposite of the fake reality they're portraying on the TV show.
Interesting. Well, I look forward to hearing the conclusion and how they will overthrow this clearly incompetent government.
Yeah. If they do, we don't know. Maybe it ends in a dystopian sadness and they all...
I mean, that'd be a lot of fun. That'd be really...
They all get married and live poorly ever after. Unhappily ever after.
If this was Terry Gilliam did this.
Well known for his Thai dramas.
Well, I mean, he did some dystopias at least. All right, well, thank you so much for sharing that, Danielle.
Anytime.
Leaving me again at a cliffhanger.
Sorry, everybody.
It's fine. It's the way it goes. You deserve to have an opportunity to do one. I did a 6-part Hyperion thing. I got no room to complain.
That's true. If listeners can sit through all that, they can certainly sit through 3 Thai drama episodes.
Given our numbers, they have not.
Yes, they have. That's not true. Get compliments all the time. Thank you very much. And that one person who didn't like us.
Hey, you know what? They're allowed to.
Still funny.
Very funny. Well, if you want to tell us how much you like us, you can reach us at bookretorts.com.
You can also tweet, Instagram, or Facebook us at bookretorts.
And if you want to help us set up our own despotic empire, you can help fund that revolution at patreon.com/bookretorts.
We'll let you live on the farm. Assuming you meet certain qualifications.
That's ominous. We let you live on the farm. Good? Bad?
It can't be any worse than late stage capitalism, Sam. We will be better than the current regime.
I mean, that's not hard, Danielle.
Just saying.
All right.
Support the Patreon. We're better than what we would be currently.
You know what? Can't argue with that. It's a solid pitch. Well, until next time, do better at organizing your evil empire, I suppose.
Yeah. That's a smart thing to do.
Okay. Until then, bye.
Take care, everybody. You ready for clappings?
Yes.
Clappings. Are you sure you're ready? You don't sound ready.
Okay, how would you like me to sound ready, Danielle?
I don't know. You didn't sound expectant enough.
I didn't
sound excited enough for the claplings.
The clap is not the exciting part, Danielle.